In this vid, I will show how I train and I'll talk about why I'm doing it. So what you see right here is a top roll exercise. People talk about the range of motion and the duration of exercises. So what you see here is what I would call pulses. It's not an isometric. It's it's a very short range of motion. It's not really a static, but you are hitting precisely where you need to be strong to win the center in an arm wrestling match, which is the most important thing. And you're going to see kind of a consistent theme across most of my exercises that I use a really tight range. There's a lot of ways that I train, but these pulses is very, very normal for me. It's just a little bit different than a timed hold in that you're creating a little bit of bounce. I find it's a great way to measure. So what you see here is low cup multi-spinner. This is fantastic for pressing and forcing the shoulder into a match with hand control. And you see the duration on most of these exercises. I'm going, normally about 40 seconds. And that changes depending on what phase of the workout, what phase of, my preparation I'm in. But this is quite normal. Here, I would not call this pulses. I would call this actually full range of motion arm wrestling training. And I know to a lot of people on here, it's probably not looking like full range motion, but when talking about my pronation specifically, I'm working through basically the entire range where I'm going to use this muscle. It's more for health than the functionality of what I call pulses. When you talk about the balance of where I put my investment in arm wrestling, you'll see a lot of consistencies in my training, and that is cupping and rolling. I talk about kind of the four big strengths to arm wrestling: rising, cupping, rolling, supination, with rolling and cupping being likely 80% throughout the bulk of my career of what I choose to invest in. I do go through periods where I will add rising significantly to my mix depending on my upcoming opponent, and I will also switch to more of a supination style again depending on my opponent. But typically everything is rolling and cupping. Again, here more full range and a little bit higher intensity than normal. This entire workout, I believe, is 10 sets. So here back to supination. This entire workout is about 10 sets, each between 20 seconds and about a minute, with the bulk of them being around 40 seconds. And all I'm doing is hitting the one movement one time. And every single time I do a set, I am doing more than I've done before in this training block. After every major event, as in a tournament, I reset all my records. But after that, every single exercise that I ever do will be progressive. So I try and structure my training so that there is a constant progressive nature. This right here is most likely, like I always say, what I consider to be potentially the most vital and accurate strength indicator in arm wrestling, because it has such a high technical portion to it, because you are balancing, cupping, and pronation. It replicates strap pulling to an incredibly high degree. High cup multi-spinner is my favorite exercise. And I also do like to do one set or so, maybe just in a day, but maybe in every workout of press. And this is test your frame. Sometimes I'll vary the wrap, but I do like to get in a press position at least once a day to stimulate my connective tissues. Test your frame, right? This is the ultimate rubber meets the road in an arm wrestling match. And typically, my final set is more of a pump, and I like to deal with just my hand. A lot of people like grippers, but the problem with grippers is they really don't have a root. Whereas what you see me doing right here, I'm basically doing a gripper, but instead of squeezing into my own hand like a gripper does, it has a root tying into my whole body, which I believe is far more functional. I think that the gripping exercise, although not as applicable as cupping, rising, rolling, supination, has a lot of carryover, and yeah, you can never have a hand that is generally too strong. I hope this helps you. This is me typically around midnight every day, and sometimes I'll get a second. Turn and burn.